Welcome to my space and the Space Force Mascot Moonicles. Diary entry from 26th of May 2020. Dear Diary, after my official approval on 23rd of May by the head space master via the Bluebird channel on the 129 mark, I was very excited to start my new career and wondered, what am I supposed to do? I stepped out on the balcony and searched the night sky for answers. The undercover moon let the stars shine even brighter, and the birds sing even higher, and the air smelled like roses. This got me thinking, and I checked on my rose to confirm my recent observation that she only sends out her fragrance during the day. In the middle of my confusion, I heard a little laugh coming from the evergreen trees in front of my balcony, and I saw a little boy with golden curls sitting in it, and he was clearly laughing at me. When he saw that I saw him, he said, "In case you're wondering about the smell, it's me. My rose always sprays me with her scent when I leave our planet, so that she can be a traveler too." This solved the rose mystery and led to an even bigger one. He looked oddly familiar to me, and I asked him a question only he could answer to find out if I was right. "Did the muzzle for your sheep work?" His eyes lit up and he smiled. "How wonderful it all turned out!" he exclaimed. "The sheep fell in love with my rose at first sight, and instead of trying to eat her, he is shielding her from the winds. And I gave the muzzle to the conceited man who made a hat out of it." I was very happy to hear the good news and said, "I'm glad you came, because I'm the first Space Force mascot and I have no idea what to do." He left his seat in the tree and came over onto my balcony and said, "That's precisely why I'm here. The king has a problem no one could solve so far, and he needs to see you. It's a matter of consequence." The learning by doing approach seemed to be highly respected in space, and I agreed to see the king. There was only one more obstacle in the way, and I said, "You may not know this, but I can't fly." He snickered and clapped his little hands, and out of the trees came the biggest and most beautiful horse I have ever seen, with wings and a horn and colors I can't describe. I stared in awe, and it felt like time ceased to exist. I may have stood like that for a minute or a day when he explained, "This is Silver Song. She will take us to the planet of the king." Silver Song is faster than the 7 winds, and bolder than the 7 seas, and stronger than the 7 mountains, and in a blink of the eye we arrived at our destination. I found the king to be in great distress. He ordered me to take a seat on his spread-out robe before his throne. And being new on the job, I began with following orders. He then ordered me to ask him a question. I looked around his little planet for a while and noticed that he is the only one living on it. So I asked him, "Where are your subjects?" He made a pejorative hand gesture and said, "I've had it with subjects. They are nothing but a disappointment to me, and I have given up on them for good." This sounded a little unbelievable to me, and I asked for more information. What happened to them? He answered with raised arms, "I don't know. I never had any." And he started crying. I watched him cry and thought about his problem. When he was done crying, he looked at me with tired eyes and said quietly, as to himself, "What good is a king without subjects?" I drew a mirror and held it before him. "See," I said, "this can be your subject." He seemed delighted at first, and a glimmer of hope touched his face that he would finally find what he was looking for. He took the mirror, stood up from his throne, and walked behind it, facing the other side of his little planet. Since time is not the same in space, I can't say whether I sat there for a day or 100 years. And when the king returned to the other side of his kingdom, it was as if he had never left. "Ask me a question," he ordered, and I obeyed. "Did you find what you were looking for?" With the same tired eyes, he said, "Day in and day out, this subject was looking at me, always having expectations. One day he loved me, the next day he hated me, demanding all of my attention, leaving me no time to attend to my commanding of my stars and my suns and my moons at their favorable times." He made a dramatic gesture and added, "I can't take it anymore." To lighten up the atmosphere, I asked him if he wanted to play a game, and he said yes. He thought about what to play for a while and then said, "I order that you play the king and I play the subject." I agreed to this game and asked about the rules to make sure I understood correctly. "Does this mean that I give the orders and you follow the orders?" And without thinking, the king said yes. I still didn't know what I was doing, and I sure didn't want to make a mistake on my first mission. So I took my time to find a good order and found that this was no easy task. I almost regretted my suggestion to play a game, and I even had doubts if I was the right mascot for the job. I remembered the story of a king who was raised to be infallible, held up high above natural standard, and not allowed to err, and therefore not able to admit and correct his mistakes. He is forced to only add to the ones he made. I looked at the subject before me and said, "I order you to be a king." He raised his eyebrows in great surprise and said without thinking, "Okay." I got up and turned around to take a look at the stars behind me, relieved to have freed myself from the duties of a king. Again, I don't know how long I looked at the stars, 1 second or 1 month, when the king came up next to me, pointed to a very fast traveling star and said, "When this star reaches the other side of my planet, time becomes favorable for me to command my sun to rise." He snickered in delight and asked me, "Do you like to command your stars and your suns and your moons too?" I answered, "Yes, only I call it watching." He raised his staff and laughed so much that he forgot to command his sun to rise, and when he finished laughing, he looked to the sun high above him and laughed even more. And the light of peace found a place to settle in his heart. "I see what you did there," I heard the little snickering voice. "When everybody is a king, then nobody is a king." I don't know what he means by that, but I'm glad that everything turned out well. I felt it was time for me to leave the planet of the king and go back to my balcony when Silver Song appeared on the horizon. I looked at the little boy and he said, "Now that you know her name, she will come at your command when it is reasonable and a matter of consequence." His sweet little laugh still rings in my ear now. And upon departure he asked me to let you know that the little prince never left. Thank you for visiting my space, and I see you again next time.